Chapter 1. The Power of Your Words. Words are more than just tools for communication. They are the invisible architects of your life. Every word you speak sends out ripples, not just into the world around you, but deep into your own mind and heart. They shape how you see yourself, how others perceive you, and how you interpret the possibilities or limits of your reality. To master your words is to master your environment, because language is not just about expression, it's about creation. The invisible weight of words. Most people underestimate the weight of the words they casually toss into conversation. A simple, "I'm always unlucky," or "I'm so stupid," might feel harmless in the moment, but repeated often enough, those words become invisible chains binding you to limitation. What you say, you believe. What you believe, you embody. What you embody, you live. The language you use daily is not just commentary on life. It programs your brain to expect certain outcomes. If you constantly speak about your stress, your lack, your frustration, your failures, you are training your mind to filter the world through that lens. Even opportunities will appear as threats because your language has already decided the story. On the other hand, intentional language, words chosen with awareness and care, has the power to expand your life, your relationships, and your sense of self. When you speak with self-respect, courage, and clarity, you tell your subconscious that you are worthy, capable, and resilient. Your mind responds by searching for evidence to match your words. Words as self-definition. Your self-concept, the internal image of who you are, is built largely through words. Think about how you introduce yourself to others. Do you say, "I'm just," or "I'm not really good at," or "I'm always struggling with"? Each of these phrases not only informs others about you, but reinforces your own sense of self. Your identity is, in many ways, a story you've been telling yourself since childhood. It's a script filled with "I am" statements. I am shy, I am bad with money, I am not creative. The more you say these things, the deeper they root into your identity. To change your life, you must change your story, and to change your story, you must change your words. When you start saying, "I am capable, I am learning, I am resourceful," you give yourself permission to step into a new identity. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing language that leaves room for growth, possibility, and self-respect. How words shape relationships. Words are the foundation of every relationship you have, with family, friends, partners, co-workers, and even strangers. What you say either builds connection or erodes it. Harsh, careless words may satisfy a fleeting emotional need to express frustration, but they leave scars. Thoughtful, clear words, even during conflict, preserve trust and respect. Consider how you speak when you're upset. Do you attack, accuse, or shut down? Or do you describe your feelings and needs calmly? The difference between "you never listen to me" and "I feel unheard, and I'd like to talk about it" can mean the difference between resolution and resentment. Your words either open doors or close them. They invite understanding or breed misunderstanding. They heal or harm. When you learn to pause and choose words that reflect your values, even in difficult moments, you build relationships on a foundation of respect and emotional safety. The words you speak to yourself. Some of the most important words you'll ever hear are the ones you say to yourself, the silent, running commentary in your mind. These internal conversations shape your confidence, your courage, your ability to take risks, and your resilience in the face of setbacks. If your self-talk is filled with criticism, "I'll never figure this out," "I always screw things up," "I'm not good enough," your mind accepts those words as instructions. Your brain starts to filter the world for evidence that proves you right. On the other hand, when your inner dialogue is encouraging, "I'm learning, I can figure this out, this challenge will make me stronger," your brain searches for ways to make those words true. This isn't empty positivity. It's mental programming. To master your words, you must first tune into your internal dialogue. Notice the phrases you repeat when you're stressed, scared, or doubting yourself. Then, deliberately rewrite them into language that supports you instead of sabotaging you. Words and emotional triggers. We often speak reactively, using words as weapons when we feel threatened, misunderstood, or dismissed. When emotions take control, we lose sight of the long-term impact of what we say. Mastering your words requires recognizing your emotional triggers, the situations, tones, or phrases that make you defensive. Once you know what triggers you, you can create a pause strategy, a habit of taking a breath before you speak. This pause creates a gap between emotion and expression, giving you time to choose words that serve your values, not your impulses. The energy of words. Words carry energy. Encouragement uplifts. Criticism crushes. Gratitude opens hearts. Complaints close minds. When you consistently speak with kindness, curiosity, and clarity, you create a personal atmosphere where people feel safe, seen, and respected. This atmosphere draws better relationships, better opportunities, and even better luck. On the flip side, constant negativity, gossip, complaining, sarcasm, creates an environment where trust erodes and cooperation dies. Your words become the climate you live in. If you want warmth, use warm words. If you want growth, use words that plant seeds, not ones that salt the earth. Practical tools to master your words. Here are a few techniques you can use to develop conscious control over your language. Word audit. Spend one day observing your own speech. What phrases do you repeat? How often do you complain, criticize, or use self-deprecating humor? Awareness is the first step to mastery. Pause and ask. Before responding in difficult conversations, pause and ask yourself, what's my goal here? Let your words serve that goal, not your momentary emotion. Reframe negative statements. When you catch yourself saying something limiting, e.g., I can't handle this, pause and reframe it, e.g., this is challenging, but I'm learning to handle it. Daily intention statement. Each morning, choose one phrase to guide your words for the day. For example, I speak with calm confidence today. Gratitude language shift. Each night, write down 3 things you appreciated, then practice speaking those kinds of words to others throughout the day. The compound effect of words. No single phrase will change your life overnight, but the cumulative effect of thousands of conversations, internal and external, will. Every word you choose shapes the next moment, the next interaction, and ultimately, the story of your life. The words you speak are not just reflections of who you are, they are blueprints for who you are becoming. Choose wisely. Did my words align with my intention? What could I adjust next time? The long game of intentional speech. Speaking with intention is not about rehearsing perfect lines or controlling every word. It's about cultivating a habit of consciousness in communication. It's choosing to be fully present with your words, aware of their power, and responsible for their impact. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Over time, intentional speech is no longer a technique. It's simply the way you show up, aware, aligned, and powerful. Your words, your legacy. The words you choose today shape the relationships, opportunities, and reputation you'll carry tomorrow. Intentional words build trust, open doors, and create a life of purpose. Speak like it matters, because it does. Chapter 3. Silence as Strength. In a world addicted to noise, constant updates, and endless streams of communication, silence is often misunderstood. People fear silence. They rush to fill it with words, notifications, or mindless chatter. But silence, far from being empty, is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth, emotional mastery, and effective communication. Silence is not weakness. It is the mark of someone who understands their own power, someone who knows that not every thought needs to be expressed, not every conflict needs immediate resolution, and not every moment needs to be filled with sound. When you master silence, you master yourself. The misconception of silence as absence. Most people associate silence with a void, the absence of speech, the emptiness between conversations, the awkward gap that demands filling. But silence is not a lack of communication. It is a form of communication in itself. Silence can say, I need time to think. I am choosing not to engage in this negativity. Your words deserve consideration before I respond. I will not be manipulated into reacting. Silence speaks volumes when used intentionally. It projects confidence when others expect nervous chatter. It draws respect when others expect defensiveness. And it commands attention in a world where everyone is shouting to be heard. The power of the pause. The simplest and most powerful form of silence is the pause. That brief space between stimulus and response is where emotional intelligence lives. In that silence, you decide who you want to be, how you want to respond, and whether your words will serve your purpose or your ego. When emotions surge, anger, frustration, fear, silence offers a refuge. It gives your higher self time to rise above your instincts. A pause of even a few seconds can be the difference between escalating a conflict and resolving it. Pausing before speaking creates clarity, time to gather your thoughts. Control, space to choose a calm response. Curiosity, an opportunity to ask questions instead of assuming. Great communicators are not just great speakers. They are masters of the pause, comfortable with silence, because they know silence is where wisdom gathers. Silence in conflict, the ultimate power move. In arguments and confrontations, silence is often interpreted as defeat. This is a dangerous misunderstanding. In reality, silence during conflict is one of the greatest displays of power. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, you deny your opponent the reaction they crave. Maintain emotional control. Force the other person to sit with their own words. Refuse to lower yourself into reactive behavior. Aggressive people rely on your emotional reaction to fuel their fire. By refusing to engage, you break the cycle. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their own behavior back to them. However, this isn't about cold, punishing silence. It's about intentional silence, the kind that communicates, "I will not be manipulated, but I am still listening." Silence in relationships. Space for deeper connection. In personal relationships, silence is often feared, misinterpreted as disinterest or avoidance. But intentional silence can deepen intimacy and strengthen bonds. When you hold space for someone's words, without rushing to reply or fix, you communicate. "I value your thoughts enough to really listen. You deserve my full attention, not my immediate solution. Your silence is safe with me, you don't have to fill it." Conversations enriched with pauses, moments of reflection, and comfortable silence foster deeper understanding. Silence allows emotions to settle, truths to emerge, and people to feel truly heard. The discipline of not responding immediately. Mastering silence requires breaking the habit of immediate reaction. Most people respond instantly, driven by the fear of silence or the impulse to defend themselves. But the strongest communicators understand that delay is not weakness, it is wisdom. When you delay your response, you reclaim control. You signal that you are not emotionally hijacked. You demonstrate respect for your own time and thoughts. Pausing also exposes the truth. Many situations resolve themselves if you simply resist the urge to respond. Whether it's an inflammatory email, a passive-aggressive comment, or a demand for your immediate reaction, silence is often the most strategic reply. Inner silence. The foundation of outer power. The most transformative silence is not external. It's internal. The mind, left unchecked, becomes a constant stream of worry, judgment, and self-criticism. This inner noise drowns out creativity, clarity, and intuition. Inner silence is cultivated through meditation, training the mind to observe thoughts without attachment. Mindful pauses, creating quiet. Moments between daily tasks. Reflection, sitting with your thoughts instead of escaping them. When you cultivate inner silence, you no longer fear external silence. You are comfortable in your own mind, because it is no longer an enemy. From this internal stillness, clarity rises, about who you are, what you value, and how you want to move through the world. Silence in leadership. The best leaders speak less and listen more. Their silence creates space for others to step up, share ideas, and take ownership. Leaders who cannot tolerate silence tend to micromanage, filling every gap with directives, assumptions, or corrections. Intentional silence in leadership signals. Confidence. You trust your team to think and act. Curiosity. You are genuinely interested in others' perspectives. Control. You are not reactive, even under pressure. In negotiations, silence is particularly powerful. The person most comfortable with silence controls the flow. They resist the pressure to fill the void with concessions, apologies, or unnecessary words. They know silence draws out the truth from the other party. When silence is not passive, but strategic. There's a difference between withholding and strategic silence. Withholding is avoidance, refusing to communicate out of fear or passive aggression. Strategic silence is chosen, a conscious decision to create space for thought, emotion, or action. Use strategic silence when you want to de-escalate tension. You need time to process emotions. You want to encourage someone to speak. You want to break the pattern of reactive conversations. When silence is intentional, it is never empty. It holds space for something greater: insight, healing, creativity, or calm. Practical exercises to cultivate the strength of silence. The one-breath pause. Before responding to any comment, take one conscious breath. This micro-silence creates space for intention. Silent listening practice. In one conversation today, practice listening without interrupting, finishing sentences, or immediately responding. Observe what emerges in the silence. Emotional delay rule. When triggered by an email, comment, or situation, wait 30 minutes before replying. Watch how your emotional state and your desired response shifts in the silence. Daily silent reflection. Spend 5 minutes in complete silence at the end of the day. No phone, no music, no talking. Just observe your thoughts and feelings. Strategic pause in conflict. When an argument escalates, announce, "I need a moment to think." Step away, gather yourself in silence, then return with clarity. The legacy of silence. Ultimately, silence is a form of self-respect. It says, I do not need to explain or defend myself in every moment. My value is not measured by the noise I make. I trust myself enough to pause, reflect, and choose. In a world addicted to instant responses, silence is revolutionary. It is the pause that reclaims your power, the space where wisdom forms, and the proof that strength is not always loud. Those who master silence command their energy, their attention, and their relationships. They speak when it matters, and when they do, people listen. Chapter 4. Mastering Your Thoughts. Your thoughts are the silent architects of your reality. Long before words leave your mouth, long before decisions shape your day, your thoughts are working quietly behind the scenes, influencing your emotions, driving your behavior, and filtering your perception of the world. Every choice you make, every opportunity you see or miss, every success or failure, it all starts in your mind. To master your life, you must first master your thoughts. The invisible blueprint. The mind is like a stream, constantly flowing with thoughts, some useful, some repetitive, some destructive. Most people live unaware of this constant flow, assuming their thoughts are simply who they are. But thoughts are not facts. They are stories, shaped by past experiences, beliefs, fears, and expectations. The danger is that unexamined thoughts become invisible commands to your brain. If you think, I'm not capable, your brain searches for evidence to confirm that belief. If you think, this is too hard, your brain looks for reasons to quit. Mastering your thoughts means stepping out of this unconscious stream, learning to observe, question, and ultimately choose your thoughts rather than being ruled by them. Awareness. The first step to mastery. You can't change what you don't notice. Most people are so fused with their thoughts that they don't even realize there's a difference between thinking a thought and believing it. The practice of thought awareness means pausing regularly throughout the day to check in. What am I thinking right now? Is this thought helpful or harmful? Where did this thought come from? Do I want to keep thinking this? This habit separates you from your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the thinker, the chooser. This shift from unconscious to conscious thinking is the foundation of thought mastery. The power of thought filters. Not all thoughts deserve your attention. Just because a thought crosses your mind doesn't mean it's true, helpful, or worthy of belief. Thought mastery involves filtering, consciously deciding which thoughts to nurture and which to discard. You can ask yourself, is this thought based on fear or possibility? Does this thought expand or shrink my confidence? Is this thought aligned with my values and goals? Like a bouncer at the door of your mind, you decide who gets in and who doesn't. Negative, limiting, self-sabotaging thoughts? No entry. Constructive, empowering, possibility-focused thoughts? Welcome. Reframing. turning limiting thoughts into liberating ones. Every thought carries a perspective, and you have the power to shift it. Reframing is the art of taking a limiting thought and rewriting it in a way that empowers you. Instead of, "I can't handle this," try, "I'm learning how to handle this." Instead of, "I always mess up," try, "Mistakes are part of growth, and I'm growing." Instead of, "This is impossible," try, "This is challenging, but possible with time and effort." Reframing doesn't deny reality. It changes your relationship to it. Shift from seeing problems as dead ends to seeing them as opportunities for growth. The thought-emotion loop. Thoughts and emotions are deeply connected. A single negative thought, "I'm not good enough," can trigger anxiety, sadness, or frustration. That emotion then fuels more negative thoughts, creating a downward spiral. Mastering your thoughts allows you to interrupt this loop. By choosing a different thought, "I'm capable of figuring this out," you create space for different emotions like hope, confidence, and calm. When you change the thought, you change the feeling, which then changes your actions and results. The cycle begins and ends with the thoughts you choose. Mindfulness. Training ground for thought mastery. Mindfulness, the practice of observing your thoughts without judgment, is one of the most effective tools for mastering your mind. In mindfulness practice, you become a witness to your inner dialogue. Thoughts arise, and instead of grabbing onto them, you watch them pass, like clouds across the sky. You realize they are just mental events, not truths. Over time, this practice creates a powerful mental space between stimulus and response, between thought and belief. You gain the ability to choose your response, rather than react impulsively. The stories you tell yourself. Every person lives inside a personal narrative, a mental story stitched together from memories, beliefs, and identity. These stories shape your sense of self and your expectations for the future. "I'm a hard worker, but I'm not lucky. Things never work out for me. I always find a way." These stories are just collections of repeated thoughts. Change the thoughts, and you change the story. Change the story, and you change what's possible for your life. What's the story you've been telling yourself? And what would you rather believe? The inner critic versus the inner coach. Most people's internal dialogue is dominated by the inner critic, the voice that constantly highlights flaws, replays failures, and predicts disaster. This voice isn't reality. It's a learned response, often inherited from parents, teachers, or past experiences. Mastering your thoughts means replacing the inner critic with the inner coach, a supportive, wise voice that speaks to your potential, not just your shortcomings. You've handled challenges before. You'll handle this. You're learning and improving every day. One mistake doesn't define you. The voice you listen to most becomes the voice that shapes your life. Curating your mental environment. Your thoughts are heavily influenced by what you consume, the conversations you engage in, the media you watch, the people you spend time with. Mastering your thoughts isn't just internal work, it's also about curating your external inputs. Do the people around you encourage growth or breed negativity? Does your media diet feed fear or expand possibility? Are you surrounding yourself with ideas, books, and influences that challenge you to think bigger? Protecting your mind is part of thought mastery. What you allow in shapes what comes out. Visualization. Directing your mind toward success. Your mind responds to images and scenarios, real or imagined, with equal weight. Visualization is a thought mastery technique where you consciously create mental pictures of the outcomes you want, rather than defaulting to worst-case scenarios. See yourself confidently delivering the presentation. Visualize handling conflict with calm and clarity. Picture achieving your personal and professional goals. When you feed your mind positive imagery, it starts to work toward those images, looking for ways to make them reality. Daily practices for thought mastery. Morning mindset check. Start each day by setting an intention for how you want to think and feel. Thought journaling. Write down the most common thoughts you notice during the day. Are they supportive or limiting? Pause and reframe. Whenever you catch a negative thought, pause and rewrite it on the spot. Meditation. Practice sitting quietly and observing your thoughts without judgment. Learn to detach from them. Affirmations. Choose 2 to 3 empowering phrases to repeat daily, programming your mind toward positive beliefs. Becoming the master of your mind. Mastering your thoughts is a lifelong practice, not a one-time event. Some days will be easier than others. But every time you pause, observe, and choose, instead of blindly believing, you reclaim a little more power. The quality of your life will always be determined by the quality of your thoughts. When you master your thoughts, you master your emotions. When you master your emotions, you master your actions. When you master your actions, you master your destiny. It all starts with a single thought, and the courage to choose a better one. Chapter 5. Focus and Clarity, Your Internal Compass. In a world drowning in distractions, focus is power and clarity is freedom. Every day, your attention is pulled in 100 directions. Social media feeds, endless notifications, competing responsibilities, and the chaos of modern life. Without focus, you drift. Without clarity, you wander. Focus and clarity are not luxuries for the lucky. They are skills anyone can cultivate. When you master both, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. Focus. The power of undivided attention. Focus is the ability to lock your mind onto one target and hold it there, despite distractions. It's the mental muscle that allows you to do deep, meaningful work instead of shallow, fragmented tasks. In a society obsessed with multitasking, true focus is rare, and therefore incredibly valuable. Focus is not just about working harder. It's about working smarter by giving your full energy to the right things. Every time you focus, you make a silent declaration: this matters. This is worth my energy. This is how I shape my future. Why focus feels so hard? Focus isn't difficult because you lack willpower. It's difficult because modern life is engineered to fracture your attention. Every app, platform, and device is designed to hijack your focus, feeding you dopamine hits through likes, messages, and notifications. Your brain, wired for novelty, eagerly follows the trail of digital breadcrumbs. Each interruption trains your mind to crave more, until focus feels unnatural and distraction becomes the default. The high cost of scattered focus. Shallow work. Constant context switching means you rarely engage in the kind of deep thinking that leads to breakthroughs. Emotional exhaustion. Mental clutter drains energy, leaving you overwhelmed even when little gets done. Poor decision-making. Lack of focus reduces your ability to weigh options clearly. Missed potential. Your greatest ideas and efforts never fully bloom because they're constantly interrupted. Without focus, even talent and effort are squandered. Focus isn't just about working, it's about aligning your attention with your intention. Clarity. The mental North Star. If focus is your ability to concentrate, clarity is knowing what deserves your concentration. Clarity answers the crucial questions. What matters most? What am I truly working toward? Why does this matter to me? Without clarity, you can focus, but on the wrong things. You can work hard, but on someone else's goals. Clarity ensures that your focus is purposeful and aligned with your deepest values. The fog that blinds clarity. Clarity doesn't vanish overnight. It's eroded gradually, through overwhelm, too many options, obligations, and competing goals. External noise. Constant opinions from media, peers, and culture. Emotional clutter. Anxiety, doubt, and unresolved fears cloud your inner vision. Lack of reflection. When you never pause to think, you lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. When clarity fades, confusion takes over. You end up busy instead of productive, reactive instead of intentional. Without clarity, life becomes a series of random tasks disconnected from any real purpose. The symbiosis of focus and clarity. Focus and clarity feed each other. Clarity gives focus a direction. Focus gives clarity the power to become reality. With clarity, you know what matters, so you can focus on it. With focus, you bring clarity's vision into existence, step by step. Together, they form your internal compass, guiding you through the noise, temptations, and distractions of life. Training focus. Turning attention into a superpower. Focus, like any muscle, grows with deliberate practice. Here's how to sharpen your focus in a world built to break it. 1. Single-tasking mastery. Multitasking isn't efficient, it's self-sabotage. Each time you switch tasks, your brain wastes time reorienting. To rebuild focus, commit to one task at a time. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Work on one thing only. When the timer ends, take a 5-minute break. Repeat. This trains your brain to sustain attention, gradually expanding your capacity for deep focus. 2. Create a focus ritual. Rituals signal to your brain, it's time to focus. This could be clearing your desk, putting your phone in another room, playing the same instrumental playlist, lighting a candle. Over time, these cues become mental triggers, shifting you into focus mode effortlessly. 3. Protect focus with boundaries. Every interruption has a cost. Create sacred time blocks, periods where notifications are silenced, interruptions are off-limits. You guard your attention like a priceless asset. If necessary, communicate your boundaries to others. Focus flourishes where boundaries are respected. 4. Train your attention span. Modern attention spans are shrinking, but you can rebuild yours through intentional practice. Start with 10 minutes of focused work. Gradually extend to 20, 30, or 60 minutes. Track your progress. Seeing improvement reinforces focus as a habit. Cultivating clarity. Sharpening your inner vision. Focus without clarity is wasted effort. Here's how to clear mental fog and reconnect with what truly matters. 1. Daily micro-reflections. Clarity isn't found once, it's cultivated daily. Each morning, ask yourself, what matters most today? What action would move me closer to my biggest goal? What distractions am I prone to today? This daily check-in keeps you anchored in purpose, even amid chaos. 2. The Clarity Journal. Create a journal devoted to clarifying your values, goals, and vision. Regularly write, what do I truly want? Why does it matter? What's getting in my way? The act of writing slows your mind, helping you see through internal noise. 3. Quarterly life audits. Every 3 months, step back and audit your life. Are my current goals aligned with my deeper values? Am I pursuing what I want, or what others expect? Is my time going to what matters most? This realignment keeps your clarity sharp as your life evolves. 4. The power of no. Clarity isn't just knowing what to pursue, it's knowing what to reject. Every yes has a cost. With clear priorities, saying no becomes easier and essential. Focus and clarity in action. Picture a sculptor. Clarity is the vision of the finished sculpture, what they want to create. Focus is the chisel, applied to specific sections, shaping the stone into that vision. Without clarity, the sculptor hacks randomly at the marble, wasting time and effort. Without focus, the vision remains a fantasy, a dream without form. It's the combination of both, clear vision and focused action, that creates masterpieces, both in art and life. The enemies of focus and clarity, and how to defeat them. Enemy: how it disrupts, how to defeat it. Digital distraction fractures attention with endless pings. Set screen time limits and use focus apps. People-pleasing focus shifts to others' priorities. Clarify your personal values and goals. Overcommitment spreads attention too thin. Ruthlessly prioritize and practice saying no. Internal doubt clouded by fears and second-guessing. Anchor to clear values and write out affirmations. Your life is what you focus on. Ultimately, the life you live will be shaped by what you focus on most consistently, and whether those focuses align with your clearest vision of success, purpose, and fulfillment. Every moment of attention is an investment. Are you investing in your future, or frittering it away on noise, distractions, and other people's agendas? Clarity defines your destination. Focus determines whether you get there. Master both, and you master your destiny. Chapter 6. The Power of Positive Thinking. Your mindset as a weapon for growth. Positive thinking is more than just optimism. It is a powerful tool for shaping your reality from the inside out. It's not about ignoring challenges or pretending life is perfect. Instead, it's about choosing how you perceive, interpret, and respond to the world around you. The way you think directly influences the way you feel, the choices you make, and ultimately, the results you achieve. Positive thinking is the habit of training your mind to focus on possibility, opportunity, and solutions, even when difficulties arise. It is a conscious decision to believe that your effort matters, your growth is possible, and the future holds potential, not just problems. The science behind positive thinking. This is not magical thinking, it's neuroscience. Your brain is wired with a negativity bias, an ancient survival mechanism designed to notice threats and dangers. This bias served our ancestors well, but in modern life, it causes many people to default to fear, anxiety, and self-doubt, even when they aren't in immediate danger. Positive thinking reprograms your brain by strengthening different neural pathways, the ones connected to resilience, creativity, and optimism. Every time you choose a positive interpretation, you reinforce those neural circuits, making it easier for your brain to automatically search for opportunity instead of threat. Over time, this rewiring process creates a natural shift in your baseline mindset, from reactive and fearful to proactive and confident. Positive thinking becomes not just a mindset, but a deeply ingrained way of being. Perception shapes reality. Your thoughts filter your experience of life. Imagine two people facing the same situation, being laid off from work. One thinks, "This is the worst thing that could happen. I'll never find something better." The other thinks, "This is an opportunity to find a role that fits my skills and passions better." The same event, completely different experience. Their thoughts directly shape what they see, how they feel, and how they act. The first person might withdraw, stop applying for jobs, and sink into self-doubt. The second person might immediately start networking, upskilling, and seeing new options. Your life follows the direction of your dominant thoughts. Positive thinking tilts that direction toward growth, action, and resilience. Positive thinking versus toxic positivity. It's important to distinguish true positive thinking from the shallow, just think happy thoughts mindset, often referred to as toxic positivity. Positive thinking acknowledges reality, setbacks, pain, and uncertainty, but chooses to interpret those events in ways that empower action. It says, "This is hard, but I can handle hard things. This didn't work, but it's a lesson that brings me closer to what will. I feel scared, but courage means acting anyway." Toxic positivity denies reality, encouraging fake smiles and emotional suppression. True positive thinking faces reality with honesty and hope. The emotional impact of positive thinking. Positive thinking doesn't just affect your mindset, it rewires your emotional patterns too. Negative thoughts trigger stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Positive thoughts trigger calm, creativity, and motivation. When you consistently practice positive thinking, you build emotional resilience, the ability to recover faster from setbacks. Challenges no longer feel like permanent failures. They feel like temporary obstacles. The more you train your mind to find what's possible, the less power negative emotions have over you. Positive thinking is emotional self-defense, guarding your mind against the spiral of fear and self-doubt. The thought-action connection. Positive thoughts don't just make you feel better, they make you act differently. If you believe a project can succeed, you'll put in more effort, stay longer, and find creative solutions. If you believe it's doomed, you'll withdraw, do the minimum, and give up at the first setback. Your beliefs drive your behavior, and your behavior creates your results. Positive thinking becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Believing in possibility causes you to act with confidence, and those confident actions create better outcomes, which reinforce your positive mindset. The cycle feeds itself. Practical techniques for cultivating positive thinking. Positive thinking isn't just a switch you flip, it's a skill you build through daily habits. Here are powerful ways to train your mind to lean toward possibility. 1. Reframing challenges. When a problem arises, ask, "What's one thing I can control here? What's the potential opportunity in this situation? What will I learn from this, even if it doesn't go how I want?" Reframing doesn't make problems disappear, but it changes your relationship with them. Problems become training grounds, not dead ends. 2. Daily gratitude practice. Your mind can't focus on gratitude and lack at the same time. Each day, list 3 things you're grateful for, small or large. Over time, this rewires your brain to naturally scan for the good. Gratitude is positive thinking in action, training your attention toward abundance, not scarcity. 3. Affirmation with evidence. Generic affirmations, "I'm amazing," don't stick if you don't believe them. Instead, anchor positive beliefs in evidence from your real life. I can handle challenges because I overcame specific past challenge. I am capable because I learned specific skill. These personalized affirmations build belief rooted in reality, not wishful thinking. 4. Control your inputs. Your environment shapes your thoughts. If you consume constant negativity, fear-based news, gossip, toxic social media, your mind will adopt those patterns. Surround yourself with positive influences. Follow people who inspire, not depress. Curate your information diet the same way you curate your food. Your inputs shape your outlook. 5. Mental reset rituals. Negative thoughts will still arise. That's human. The key is catching them before they spiral. Develop a reset ritual. Pause and take 3 deep breaths. Say a power statement, "I choose possibility." Ask, "What's one thing I can do right now to move forward?" This interrupts negativity before it takes root. Positive thinking in relationships. Positive thinking isn't just personal. It shapes how you relate to others. When you choose to assume positive intent, you communicate with more patience and respect. Avoid unnecessary conflict. Create emotional safety in relationships. When you expect the best from others, within reason, they often rise to meet those expectations. The resilience factor. Life will throw challenges at you. That's inevitable. Positive thinking is what determines whether those challenges break you or build you. Negative thinking sees obstacles as proof of failure. Positive thinking sees obstacles as part of progress. Resilience is built through consistent positive reframing, teaching your mind to see every setback as temporary, every failure as feedback, and every challenge as training. Your default thought pattern becomes your destiny. Every day, you are programming your mind with either "Life is hard," "People are against me," "I'll never succeed," or "I'm capable, I can learn, and I'll find a way." That internal story shapes your future, because thoughts drive feelings, actions, and results. Change your dominant thoughts, and you change your dominant reality. The choice is yours. You don't control every circumstance, but you do control the meaning you give to every circumstance. Positive thinking is not pretending, it's choosing to focus on what you can control, to believe in your own power to grow, to view setbacks as stepping stones, to see yourself as someone capable of writing your own story. This choice, made consistently, transforms not just your mind, but your life. Chapter 7. Emotional Mastery. Taking the reins of your inner world. Emotions are powerful. They can fuel creativity, deepen relationships, and propel you into action, or they can sabotage your goals, cloud your judgment, and trap you in cycles of self-doubt, fear, and reaction. To master your life, you must master your emotions. But emotional mastery is not emotional suppression. It's not pretending you don't feel anger, fear, or sadness. True mastery is understanding, processing, and guiding your emotions so they work for you, not against you. Emotional mastery doesn't mean controlling every feeling. It means cultivating the awareness, tools, and self-respect to respond deliberately to your emotions, rather than being ruled by them. Emotions are data, not directives. Most people think emotions are commands. If you feel angry, you must lash out. If you feel anxious, you must retreat. If you feel hurt, you must withdraw. But emotions are not orders. They are signals. They are messages from your inner world telling you something about the moment, the memory it triggers, or the meaning you're assigning to a situation. Anger says, "A boundary is being crossed." Fear says, "There's uncertainty ahead." Sadness says, "Something valuable was lost." Joy says, "This is aligned with your values." Mastery begins with decoding these signals, understanding what your emotions are trying to tell you, rather than reacting impulsively to the surface feeling. Emotional reactivity versus emotional response. The average person is emotionally reactive. A comment, event, or frustration triggers an automatic emotional outburst, defensive words, impulsive actions, or withdrawal. These reactions are conditioned patterns, often formed in childhood or shaped by past trauma. Emotional mastery replaces reactivity with response. It inserts a pause between the feeling and the action. That pause is power, the power to choose. Is this emotion telling me something useful? Do I want to act on this feeling right now? What response serves my values and goals? That space, however small, transforms automatic reactions into intentional responses. Awareness. The foundation of emotional mastery. You can't manage what you don't notice. Most people are so immersed in their emotions that they confuse them with reality itself. Mastery starts with emotional awareness, the ability to name, track, and understand your emotions in real time. Practice checking in with yourself regularly. What am I feeling right now? Name it: anger, fear, joy, frustration, etc. Where do I feel it in my body? Tight chest, clenched jaw, fluttering stomach. What triggered this feeling? What meaning am I assigning to this moment? Naming your emotions creates distance between you and the feeling. You are no longer angry. You are a person experiencing anger. That subtle shift is the first step to mastery. The power of emotional triggers. Certain situations, tones of voice, or behaviors from others can trigger disproportionate emotional responses. These triggers often originate in past experiences, old wounds, unmet needs, or patterns inherited from childhood. Mastering your emotions means learning your triggers. What kinds of situations tend to push your buttons? What stories do you tell yourself in those moments? Are you reacting to the present or to an old memory? By identifying your triggers, you shift from being blindly controlled by them to consciously managing them. Processing versus suppressing emotions. Emotional mastery is not bottling up your feelings. Suppression may look like control, but it's really avoidance, and suppressed emotions always surface eventually, often in destructive ways. Mastery means learning to process emotions healthily. Feel it fully. Allow the emotion to arise without judgment. Name it clearly. I feel anxious about the uncertainty at work. Trace it to its source. Is this about now or something old? Release it deliberately. Through breathwork, writing, or physical movement. When emotions are felt, understood, and released, they lose their grip. They stop controlling you and become valuable feedback. Emotional regulation techniques. Emotional mastery requires tools, reliable techniques for calming yourself in the heat of the moment. Here are core strategies. 1. The pause and breathe method. Before responding to any strong emotion, pause and take 3 slow, deep breaths. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, shifting you from fight or flight into calm responsiveness. 2. Emotional reframing. Ask yourself, what other meaning could I give this situation? What's the most empowering interpretation? How would the wisest version of me view this? You can't always control what happens, but you can always control the meaning you assign to it. 3. Self-validation. Instead of shaming yourself for feeling upset, practice self-validation. It makes sense that I'm feeling this. This is a normal response to stress. I'm allowed to feel this without acting on it. Self-compassion is fuel for emotional mastery. 4. Physical release. Emotions live in the body. After emotional waves, move your body to release stored tension. Walk, stretch, shake it out. Emotional mastery is embodied, not just mental. The emotional ripple effect. Your emotions don't just shape your inner world, they radiate into your relationships, decisions, and opportunities. Emotional mastery makes you a better communicator, able to speak without defensiveness, even when upset. It enhances leadership. People trust leaders who stay composed under pressure. It strengthens resilience. You recover faster from setbacks because you aren't hijacked by fear or frustration. When you master your emotions, You become the calm center in the storm, for yourself, your family, and your team. Emotional patterns and your identity. Your dominant emotions shape your identity over time. If fear is your constant state, you build an identity around caution and avoidance. If resentment dominates, you see yourself as a victim. Emotional mastery allows you to break free from old emotional identities, to rewrite yourself as someone who feels fear, but acts anyway. Someone who feels anger, but responds thoughtfully. Someone who feels sadness, but finds meaning in it. You are not your emotions. You are the one who chooses how to hold them. Emotions and decision-making. Most decisions are emotionally driven, whether we realize it or not. Emotional mastery gives you a filter, so emotions inform decisions without dictating them. Is this fear realistic or just uncertainty? Is this excitement genuine or impulse? Am I saying yes out of guilt or because it aligns with my values? Mastering your emotions means your choices are aligned with your highest self, not your momentary feelings. Emotional mastery as a lifelong practice. Emotional mastery is not a destination, it's a practice. Some days will be easy, others will test every ounce of patience you have. But every pause, every reframed thought, every time you choose response over reaction, you build emotional strength. Over time, you transform from reactive to reflective, impulsive to intentional, overwhelmed to empowered. Practical daily habits for emotional mastery. Emotional check-ins. Pause 3 times a day to ask, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What do I need right now? Process before responding. When triggered, commit to waiting at least 5 minutes before responding. Use that time to breathe, reflect, and decide your best response. Journaling for emotional clarity. Write down difficult emotions, what triggered them, what stories arose, how you want to respond next time. Grounding rituals. Start and end each day with practices that ground your nervous system. Meditation, breathing exercises, or physical movement. Emotional mastery is self-respect. Mastering your emotions is not just about success, it's about self-respect. It's refusing to be ruled by triggers, fears, or insecurities. It's honoring your emotions without becoming their prisoner. Emotional mastery is power, the power to choose who you will be, no matter how you feel in the moment. Chapter 8. Responding, not reacting. Mastering the space between stimulus and action. There is a brief, almost imperceptible space between something happening and what you do next. In that space lies all your power. The power to choose how you show up, how you speak, and how you shape your future. Most people react, instantly, emotionally, and often destructively. They lash out when angry, withdraw when hurt, and shut down when overwhelmed. Reacting is automatic, requiring no awareness, no reflection, no choice. Responding, however, is different. It is intentional. It is thoughtful. It requires presence and self-control. Responding means you pause, assess, and consciously choose words and actions aligned with your values and long-term goals, rather than temporary emotions. Mastering the art of responding, not reacting, is essential to mastering your communication, relationships, leadership, and ultimately your destiny. The anatomy of a reaction. Reactions happen when the primitive part of your brain, the amygdala, perceives a threat and triggers your fight, flight, or freeze response. This ancient survival mechanism was designed for physical danger, but in the modern world, it fires off in response to perceived threats to your ego, status, or emotions. A critical comment triggers defensiveness. A frustrating delay triggers irritation. An unexpected problem triggers panic. Reactions are impulsive, driven by unprocessed emotions and survival patterns. They often amplify conflict, damage relationships, and create regret. In contrast, responding engages the prefrontal cortex, the rational, reflective part of your brain. Responding requires slowing down, considering options, and acting from values, not impulses. Why we default to reacting. There are several reasons why reacting feels so natural and automatic. 1. Biological wiring. The brain evolved to prioritize survival. Quick reactions were crucial when facing predators. While threats today are often social or emotional, not physical, the brain still triggers ancient responses. 2. Emotional overload. When emotions build up, they seek release. Reacting provides that immediate release, but at the cost of long-term peace. 3. Conditioned patterns. If you grew up in environments where reactions were the norm, yelling, shutting down, defensiveness, your brain likely learned those patterns as default responses. 4. Lack of emotional awareness. Without awareness of what you're feeling, reactions are inevitable. Awareness creates space. Unawareness creates reflex. The power of the pause. The core of responding, rather than reacting, is learning to pause. Even a 3-second pause can change the outcome of a conversation, a conflict, or a decision. In that pause, you breathe. Name the emotion. Consider the goal. Choose a response. This tiny pause, repeated hundreds of times per week, rewires your brain. Each time you choose a response over a reaction, you strengthen your self-control circuits. You are no longer a slave to your impulses. Responding in conflict, the ultimate power move. Reacting in conflict feels natural, but it rarely helps. You get defensive, they get defensive. You escalate, they escalate. The conflict becomes a spiral, not a resolution. Responding, however, breaks the cycle. You pause. You assess the real issue, beneath the surface argument. You choose words that de-escalate, not inflame. You ask questions, rather than assume. You respond in a way that serves your goal, not your ego. In conflict, the calmest person controls the room. Responding puts you in that position, the one who sets the emotional tone. Responding to criticism, protecting your power. Criticism often triggers instant defensiveness, a reflex to protect your ego. But reacting defensively almost always backfires, making you appear insecure or closed-minded. A response, thoughtful and measured, turns criticism into an opportunity. Pause before speaking. Ask, is there any truth here, even if it's hard to hear? Respond with curiosity, not defensiveness. Can you help me understand what you mean? This doesn't mean accepting all criticism, but it does mean you control how you receive and process feedback. Your calm response communicates confidence, maturity, and emotional intelligence. The role of emotional regulation. Responding is impossible without emotional regulation, the ability to manage your internal state before acting externally. If you can't handle the internal storm, the external reaction will follow automatically. Techniques for emotional regulation. Breathe deeply to down-regulate the nervous system. Name the feeling, I feel defensive right now. Ground yourself. Feel your feet, slow your speech, release physical tension. Reframe. Ask, what's the story I'm telling myself? Is there a more empowering one? These techniques transform raw emotion into usable data, allowing you to choose a measured response. Responding to stress and uncertainty. Reacting to stress often takes the form of overwhelm and paralysis, procrastination, escapism, scrolling, numbing, avoidance. A response to stress is different. Pause. Assess the actual source. Break it into steps. Take a single action. The difference between reacting and responding to stress determines whether you stay stuck or move forward. The ripple effect of responding. When you consistently practice responding instead of reacting, several things happen. 1. You gain self-trust. You prove to yourself over and over that you are capable of choosing calm over chaos. This builds deep internal confidence. 2. You improve relationships. People feel emotionally safe around someone who doesn't lash out, withdraw, or escalate. Trust and respect grow in the space between stimulus and response. 3. You enhance your reputation. At work, in leadership, and in life, the person who remains composed under pressure earns influence. Responding, not reacting, becomes a personal brand of stability. 4. You reduce regret. Reactions often create collateral damage. Words you can't take back, emails you wish you'd never sent, decisions made in anger. Responses are thoughtful. Fewer regrets, fewer apologies. Practical tools to cultivate the response habit. 1. The 3-breath rule. When triggered, commit to taking 3 slow breaths before speaking or acting. 2. Pause phrases. Train yourself to say, "Let me think about that. That's interesting. Let me reflect before I answer. I need a moment to process this." These create automatic pauses in high-stakes moments. 3. Pre-decide your values. Clarify. How do I want to show up, even under pressure? What kind of communicator do I want to be? What do I value more, being right or being effective? Pre-deciding makes it easier to pause and align your response with those values. 4. Emotional after-action review. When you do react, don't shame yourself, study it. What triggered me? What could I have done differently? What response will I practice next time? Repetition builds emotional muscle memory. Responding is self-respect. Ultimately, responding instead of reacting is an act of self-respect. It says, "I respect myself enough not to let external events dictate my internal state. I value my peace more than my impulse. I choose who I become, moment by moment." In a reactive world, responding is rare, and that makes it powerful. Your power lies in the pause. Every reaction is a surrender of power. Every response is a reclamation. Between what happens and what you do, there is always a space. Master that space, and you master your life. Chapter 9. Creating healthy boundaries. Protecting your energy, time, and peace. Your personal boundaries are invisible lines that define what you will and won't allow in your life. They are the protective walls around your time, energy, emotions, and well-being. Boundaries safeguard your sense of self, ensuring that you remain in control of your inner world, even when the outer world is demanding, chaotic, or intrusive. Healthy boundaries are not barriers to connection, they are the foundation for it. When you establish clear, respectful boundaries, you teach others how to treat you while preserving your own mental and emotional health. Boundaries are the ultimate act of self-respect, and they are necessary for healthy relationships, effective communication, and personal fulfillment. Why boundaries are essential. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse kindness with compliance. They believe that saying no makes them selfish, difficult, or rude. But the truth is, a lack of boundaries leads to resentment, exhaustion, and fractured relationships. Without boundaries, you overcommit and overextend. You say yes when you mean no. You absorb others' stress, guilt, and emotions. You lose sight of your own goals and priorities. When you have strong boundaries, you protect your time, energy, and focus. Strengthen your sense of self. Improve your relationships by fostering mutual respect. Avoid burnout, resentment, and emotional depletion. The signs of weak or absent boundaries. If you've never intentionally set boundaries, you might not realize how much your lack of clarity is costing you. Some signs you need stronger boundaries include constantly feeling overwhelmed or overbooked, feeling guilty when you prioritize yourself, being labeled the go-to person for everyone else's problems, resenting people for asking too much even though you said yes, feeling responsible for other people's feelings, comfort, or success, having difficulty saying no even when you're exhausted. These patterns are not signs of kindness or loyalty, they are symptoms of self-neglect. Types of boundaries. Boundaries are not one size fits all. There are multiple areas where you may need to set or reinforce limits. 1. Time boundaries. Protecting your schedule and availability. Example, I can't take calls after 8 p.m. Example, I need uninterrupted work time from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. 2. Emotional boundaries. Separating your emotions from other people's. Example, I'm not responsible for managing your reactions. Example, I can support you, but I can't fix this for you. 3. Physical boundaries. Defining personal space and physical comfort. Example, I'm not comfortable with hugs from acquaintances. Example, I need privacy when I'm working. 4. Material boundaries. Clarifying limits around possessions, finances, and resources. Example, I'm happy to help once, but I can't keep lending money. Example, please ask before borrowing my things. 5. Mental boundaries. Protecting your beliefs, values, and right to independent thought. Example, I respect your opinion, but I don't have to agree. Example, my beliefs aren't up for debate. Internal boundaries. Setting limits with yourself. Not all boundaries involve other people. Some of the most important boundaries are internal. The commitments you make to yourself to protect your energy, focus, and well-being. Limiting screen time. Stopping work at a reasonable hour. Committing to self-care, even when others demand your time. Internal boundaries are where self-discipline and self-respect meet. How to set healthy boundaries without guilt. 1. Clarify your values. Strong boundaries are rooted in what matters most to you. Ask yourself, what do I need to thrive emotionally, mentally, and physically? What relationships, commitments, or obligations drain me? What am I no longer willing to tolerate? Your boundaries should protect your top priorities, whether that's family time, creative space, or emotional peace. 2. Identify your non-negotiables. Some boundaries are preferences, e.g., preferring text over calls, while others are non-negotiables, e.g., refusing disrespect. Clarify. What behaviors or situations are absolute deal breakers? What compromises are you willing or unwilling to make? Knowing your non-negotiables gives you clarity and confidence when enforcing boundaries. 3. Communicate clearly and early. Boundaries work best when they are stated before a problem arises, not after resentment has built up. When setting a boundary, be direct but calm. Focus on your needs, not blaming others. Use I statements. I need, I feel, I prefer. Example, I'm happy to help, but I need 24 hours notice for requests. 4. Expect pushback and stand firm. People accustomed to your constant availability may resist your boundaries. They may guilt trip, argue, or test your limits. This doesn't mean your boundary is wrong. It means it's working. Stay calm. Restate your boundary. Avoid over-explaining or justifying. Healthy people respect boundaries. Unhealthy people resent them. Their reaction is not your responsibility. 5. Release guilt. You are not selfish for protecting your time, energy, or emotions. You are not responsible for managing other people's comfort at your expense. You are allowed to say no without explaining. You do not have to sacrifice your well-being to be nice. Guilt is a conditioned response, not an accurate measure of whether you're doing the right thing. Boundaries and self-worth. At their core, boundaries are a reflection of self-worth. When you believe you deserve respect, rest, and emotional safety, you naturally enforce boundaries to protect those needs. If you struggle to set boundaries, it may stem from fear of rejection or abandonment, feeling unworthy of having your needs matter, a belief that good people never say no. Healing your sense of self-worth strengthens your boundary muscles. You realize that you are not less valuable when you take up space or say no. You are honoring your own humanity. Boundaries in different areas of life. 1. At work. I'm unavailable after work hours. I need clear deadlines to prioritize effectively. I can't take on additional projects right now. 2. In family relationships. I need you to respect my parenting decisions. I'm not comfortable discussing my personal finances. I won't tolerate yelling or disrespect during conversations. 3. In friendships. I can't always be available at the last minute. I love you, but I need space when I'm overwhelmed. Please don't gossip with me about others. 4. In romantic relationships. I need alone time to recharge. I'm happy to listen, but I'm not responsible for your happiness. Mutual respect is non-negotiable. When boundaries are crossed. No matter how clear your boundaries, some people will violate them, either accidentally or intentionally. Your response is crucial. Step 1. Restate your boundary calmly. Step 2. Clarify the consequence if the behavior continues. Step 3. Follow through if necessary. Example. If you continue to speak to me that way, I'll leave the conversation. Enforcing boundaries is how you teach others to take them seriously. Boundaries are self-respect in action. Healthy boundaries don't push people away. They create the conditions for healthy connection. They allow you to show up fully, without resentment, exhaustion, or bitterness. They protect your most valuable resources, your time, energy, and peace. A life without boundaries is a life spent managing other people's comfort at the expense of your own well-being. A life with boundaries is one where you choose how you engage, where your energy flows, and what kind of relationships you nurture. Every boundary you set is a declaration. I deserve to be treated with respect. Chapter 10. Financial Discipline. Mastering your money with purpose. Money is not just numbers in a bank account. It's a mirror of your habits, your mindset, and your sense of self-worth. The way you handle money reflects how you handle desire, impulse, responsibility, and the future. At the core of financial success isn't luck, talent, or even income, it's discipline. Financial discipline is the art of consistently aligning your daily financial choices with your long-term financial goals. It's choosing future security over present indulgence, clarity over confusion, and purpose over passivity. Whether your goal is to break free from debt, build wealth, or create lasting financial independence, it all begins with financial discipline. The ability to manage your money intentionally and consistently, no matter how much you earn. What financial discipline really means. Financial discipline is not about deprivation or obsessing over every penny. It's about living with financial clarity and intentionality. Understanding where your money is going, why you're spending it, and ensuring that your financial actions match your values and long-term vision. It's about mastering the space between desire and decision, making sure that what you want right now doesn't sabotage what you want most. At its core, financial discipline includes spending within your means, consistently saving and investing, resisting impulse purchases, prioritizing long-term goals over short-term gratification, tracking where your money flows. Without discipline, even a high income can be squandered. With discipline, even a modest income can be transformed into wealth. The psychology of financial discipline. Money is never just money. It's emotional, symbolic, and psychological. To build lasting financial discipline, you have to understand your personal money story, the beliefs, habits, and emotions that shape your relationship with money. Ask yourself, what was money like growing up? Do I see money as security, freedom, or stress? Do I avoid financial conversations out of fear or guilt? Do I spend to feel better emotionally? Do I believe I deserve wealth, or secretly fear it? Financial discipline is much easier when you heal the underlying money beliefs that drive unconscious spending, avoidance, or self-sabotage. Tracking your money. Awareness before control. You can't control what you don't track. Financial discipline starts with a simple habit. Know where every dollar goes. Most people drift financially because they live in willful ignorance. They swipe, spend, and hope for the best, avoiding the reality of where their money is actually flowing. Tracking isn't about guilt, it's about clarity. It empowers you to see spending patterns, hidden leaks, opportunities to save. Whether your spending reflects your priorities. Apps, spreadsheets, or even a simple notebook work, the method matters less than the habit itself. What you track, you control. What you ignore, controls you. The budget, a financial blueprint. Discipline thrives on structure, and your budget is that structure. A budget isn't a punishment. It's a spending plan designed to ensure every dollar serves a purpose. A well-crafted budget reflects your values and goals. Allocates money for needs, wants, savings, and investing. Protects you from reactive spending. Ensures your money supports your future, not just your present. Your budget is flexible, not rigid. It evolves as your life does. But the commitment to living within its guardrails builds the muscle of financial self-control. The power of paying yourself first. Most people pay their bills, cover their expenses, and save whatever is left, usually nothing. Financial discipline reverses that order. With discipline, you pay your future self first, automatically. A percentage of every paycheck goes to savings or investments. Treat your savings as a non-negotiable bill, not optional. Automate transfers to savings and investment accounts, removing temptation. Paying yourself first rewires your mindset. Your future is a priority, not an afterthought. Impulse spending, the discipline killer. Impulse spending, emotional purchases made in the heat of the moment, is the fastest way to destroy wealth-building momentum. Impulse purchases thrive on stress relief, boredom, peer pressure, marketing manipulation. Discipline requires creating speed bumps between impulse and action. Wait 24 hours before non-essential purchases. Ask, does this align with my goals? Unsubscribe from tempting emails and alerts. Keep your financial goals visible. Remind yourself what you're building. Every time you resist an impulse purchase, you strengthen the discipline muscle. Small wins compound into unstoppable habits. Living below your means, the foundation of wealth. Financial discipline isn't about what you make, it's about what you keep. Living below your means, spending less than you earn, is the foundation of wealth building. No matter how much your income grows, discipline means avoiding lifestyle inflation, saving and investing raises and bonuses, choosing freedom over flashy consumption. Wealth isn't built by appearing rich, it's built by controlling spending, maximizing savings, and investing consistently. Savings and investing, long-term discipline. Saving is good, investing is better. True financial discipline means understanding that money sitting idle loses value to inflation. Disciplined wealth builders. Build emergency funds for short-term security. Invest aggressively for long-term growth. Contribute consistently to retirement accounts. See investing as a non-negotiable habit, not occasional effort. The disciplined investor understands that time and consistency matter more than timing. Markets fluctuate. Discipline means staying invested, avoiding panic, and trusting long-term growth. Debt management. Discipline under pressure. Debt is the opposite of financial freedom. It's a claim on your future earnings. Discipline means aggressively avoiding unnecessary debt. Paying off high-interest debt first. Living debt-free whenever possible. Debt can be useful, but only when managed intentionally. Undisciplined debt accumulation, credit cards, lifestyle loans, erodes wealth and compounds stress. Discipline means respecting debt, using it strategically, not emotionally. Financial discipline is emotional discipline. Money triggers emotions, security, fear, excitement, guilt, envy. Financial discipline requires emotional regulation. When faced with temptation, fear, or pressure, ask, what am I really feeling? Will this purchase or decision solve the deeper feeling? What does my disciplined self want? Money habits reflect your emotional habits. Emotional discipline supports financial discipline, and vice versa. The power of financial automation. Discipline doesn't mean relying on willpower. It means building systems that remove temptation and automate good choices. Automatic transfers to savings. Recurring investment contributions. Automatic bill payments to avoid late fees. Preset spending limits. The more you automate, the less you need to rely on moment-by-moment self-control. Systems make discipline easy and inevitable. Track progress. Celebrate milestones. Discipline isn't punishment, it's progress. Tech. Savings growth. Debt reduction. Investment gains. Spending improvements. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Each financial win reinforces the belief that discipline works, fueling even greater commitment. Financial freedom. The ultimate reward for discipline. Financial discipline is not about restriction. It's about freedom. Every disciplined choice moves you closer to freedom from debt. Freedom to leave toxic jobs. Freedom to retire early. Freedom to live life on your terms. The price of freedom is short-term discipline. The reward for discipline is lifelong freedom. Financial discipline is self-respect. At its core, financial discipline is an act of self-respect. It says, I deserve security, not stress. I value my future more than fleeting wants. I am capable of making powerful choices with my money. Discipline isn't about restriction. It's about designing a life where money serves you, instead of controlling you.